Hey guys, it's Tom. I wanted to do a quick cold open for the podcast today because today's podcast is a mess, but in a good way. I interviewed my friend Lucas Connolly. He is a stand-up comic who is hilarious. He always talks about how he's in rehab, and then he closes his show with a great bit about his two moms, that he was raised by moms. And I found that interesting because I really don't know many people talking about that. Through the interview, I am going to learn about Lucas's moms. And one of his moms in particular is something of a tragic celebrity. So go Google right now, the Laramie Project. It's basically a play about the horrific murder of Matthew Shepard, a gay man in Wyoming. And it turns out his mom is actually featured in that play. Did not know that when recording the podcast. So there will be fun and awkward moments to the interview, but I guess that's part of what this podcast is about. Me learning about things and people that I may not normally learn. Also, if you're watching the YouTube version, the video cuts out about 6 minutes in. So, folks, enjoy me in a tuxedo now. I'm about to go to a private gig. Then I'm going to go to the podcast. And then I have just pictures of beautiful waves from Higgins Beach to soothe you. But right now, folks, let's start the show. He's hilarious. He's funny. He's a friend of mine, blah, blah, blah. But what I love most about Lucas is, you're what, 30?
I'm 36.
36. We're at that age now where the first generation of kids who grew up with gay parents is coming up. And I always thought Lucas had a sitcom that would be, from one of his jokes, My Four Moms.
Yes.
Is it wrong that I'm ignoring how funny you are for a second? I'm going to ignore your TikToks, which talk about you doing mushrooms. I want to go straight to Four Moms, because if your moms get divorced, you're up to 8.
So my moms did get divorced after the first divorce. So then they got 4, but then they recently got divorced after 20 years together. So then they got new partners. So there was a weird moment when I had 5 moms.
Wait, 5?
Yeah, because one of them got married. The other one wasn't married or didn't have a partner.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if we actually count the moms and then where the stepmoms have gone, how many moms are you up to?
So I'm back to 4 because they got divorced because that one did not last very long.
Okay. Now, do you feel like you have to stay in touch with the 5th?
Absolutely not. She did not like me. So
really, how could someone not like you?
Oh my goodness. For one, I just think it was that, like, she just didn't care. I'm like, I think she was really mad that I was like not mask.
Oh wait, what, that you were not
masculine?
Oh, masculine.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, you're using all the little code words.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, I was not a strong, independent man like
a lesbian would want you to be.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, but
covered in tattoos, like butch.
That's what she wanted a man.
That's who she was. You know what I mean? So,
well, it's funny. You growing up. What? So you're 36. So 36 years ago, your birth mothers.
Yes.
One of them had you.
Yes.
Okay. With do we know who your birth father is?
Lenny. Yeah.
That is just such a generic, perfect name.
Yeah, it's just perfectly
for a guy you barely know.
Yes, exactly.
So Lenny, do you know Lenny?
Like, like I've met him a few times, but yeah, he was a friend of the family, but no, I don't really know him that well.
Okay. So have you ever thought about, you're a comedian, you're funny, you talk about this in your act. Is there a sitcom in any of this stuff, or is this paying too real? Because I feel like what's interesting about you is, a lot of my friends say I'm white. I am white. I mean, am I,
Sure.
like, yay. Like, I mean, I like, it's funny. Sebastian Maniscalco is big. And if you do comedy on Long Island, you think you're the only guy doing Italian-American jokes or Irish jokes or whatever. But the reality is that story's been told a million billion times.
Yes.
You, my friend, outside of Rosie O'Donnell being, I think, the first gay mom on television, have a whole chunk of story not yet told.
I would agree with that. The problem is that in my case, my parents are kind of boring, traditional.
Really?
Yeah. So like when people are like, oh, they're like lesbians, and I go, yeah, but they're moms first. Like, just imagine having moms, like your mom, whatever your boring mom, and then just times it by 4, and now you just are in this like world. And I understand for a sitcom, you have to like abbreviate things, and you have to make it funny and quirky and weird, and now that's how you can make it funny. But
because you have the vibe of a guy, like, honest to God, part of why I love you, you're so charming. You have the charm of a man ripped out of an 80s sitcom.
I did learn everything about how to be a man from 90s sitcoms.
From which one? From Family Ties? What are we talking here?
No, way worse.
What were your bad ones? What were your
Married with Children?
Oh, that was a
yeah, Happily Ever After.
Oh God, that was like the only one on the WB, right?
Yes, that was the one with the serial killer rabbit in the basement. Yeah, played by
Bobcat Goldthwait.
Yeah.
Yes,
and now I have that voice.
You do have a Bobcat Goldthwait vibe.
Yeah,
but you have better hair, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, want to make sure on that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've learned everything you need to learn about being a man from a serial killer bunny.
Yeah, and The Simpsons, which is also not really the best.
So your moms weren't like boring. I mean, not to get into stereotypes, but your moms weren't like, I'm a lumberjack, I'm going to build the house. No, your moms were just nice, normal mom types.
Yes, exactly, which is why it was so weird. Like I think they almost intentionally did that. Like they were all like, oh, we could follow this thing, but we're raising a kid, so we're going to be moms first. That's going to be our our thing first.
No, and it's funny because like I'm going through my mom couple friends, and I'm trying to think about, I really only know one mom in each relationship. I'm not really friends with two moms. Like, I guess it's work friends, whatever you want to call it. But like Rosie O'Donnell was always very, Rosie O'Donnell,
Yes.
And the women she was married to were kind of like pretty moms, like a little more gentle. But your moms were both equally momish.
I would say that they were all Rosie O'Donnells.
Got it. Okay. And then one of your Rosie O'Donnells broke up. One of your moms broke up and then married, or at least dated. I'm trying to think of somebody more Rosie O'Donnell than Rosie O'Donnell.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So the idea,
like Rosie O'Donnell just out of prison,
right? So think about like that's why that was fifth. The fifth one was the one that was way more aggressive. She was like a mortician. She had like skulls on her. Like on her arms and stuff.
Okay, now that's your sitcom.
Yes, but that didn't happen till 5 years ago. Like that wasn't.
Okay.
Like,
that happens when you're 31.
When you're like write your whole sitcom of your life. I was like, it would be about them going through menopause. That would be what. That's what my story would be about. My mom's going through menopause while I'm going through puberty. Okay. Right? Like, but they would all be. They're not like that. I would have had to make up characteristics.
Yeah. And then you'd have to play into this blah, blah, blah. I get it. I'm trying to think, what's her first name? Kornfeld's the last name.
Molly.
Molly. Okay. So her mom from stand-up.
Yes.
Patty Rossborough. And then her dad, Eric Kornfeld. I missed him, but he was sort of a legendary writer at Rosie O'Donnell's old show. She's starting to tell stories about my dad being gay. And I saw it once, and she did it on Long Island. And I thought everybody did the Long Island-y. Like, Long Island can be very much like Alabama.
Sure. Oh, yeah. No,
do you have trouble telling your story?
So I am very, very good at this. This is when you think about what my skill set is, my skill set is not performing in New York. My skill set is really leaving New York and performing for people with missing teeth, and then making them get tricked into being like, oh my God, I had a homo thought. Okay. Like that, if there is anything, that is what I do. Okay.
So what is the trick to performing for people with big city material for people with missing teeth?
All right. First thing, you get them to clap about the issue first. So
like how? Okay, I'm the audience.
Hey guys, I'm raised by lesbians, with the hands out, and then they all go woo. And if they don't,
we have to clap.
And if they don't clap, then you go, wow, I thought you guys were more progressive. You guys are all homophobes, and then they all laugh about that, right? You immediately hit them before you even do any of it. So now they're already like, oh, guess we're doing this now.
Okay, when you do a set, now I always see
they're all homophobes, and then they all laugh about that, right? You immediately hit them before you even do any of it. So now they're already like, oh, guess we're doing this now.
Okay, when you do a set, now I always see you in one place, and it's what I love and hate about where we work is you really have to be in the moment. I don't build material at LOL in Times Square.
No.
I build other skills, so I'm not knocking the club, but it's very much you have to be performing with bombs going off around you.
Yes. You learn how to puff your chest. That's it, right? You peacock a lot there.
Yeah, no, and you're right. And it's funny when people say, Tom, why do you yell all the time? Because I'm used to performing with, cameramen setting up over there or waitresses setting up over there. I mean, God bless LOL now, and I get why they do it because they don't want people to run out on them. But this is the only club on the earth where they're still seating people and making people pay for the person who goes on first.
Yes.
Which is a whole other logistical thing we'll talk about.
Love it.
But you have to learn how to peacock.
That's it.
You're peacocking.
Yeah.
Now, for when you're doing a set outside the city where you don't have to peacock, do you lead with I was raised by lesbians?
Absolutely not. It is my left turn at the very end of my set.
Okay. Why?
Because for one, I don't have enough callbacks to it. Once the information exists, then it needs to it feels like then the whole act needs to be connected to the initial topic. Right? Like, it's like no one, after you hear that, you're like, well, that's way more interesting. Just like you were just asking me about the sitcom.
Right.
You're not the only one. So everyone's brains go, wow, I want to hear this whole life story. And then you just got to go find out my moms are boring.
Yeah. Okay. Now, and let's own who I am for a minute, or what I might be doing to you. I find the two mom thing and the fact that you're talking about it terribly interesting. Am I being homophobic by making you tell that story on the podcast?
I don't think you're being inherently homophobic, but I have recently, while I was on podcasts, sent them a message before the podcast. I go, hey, I've done lesbian moms on podcast. Like, if you look me up, you will see 12 podcasts where it's about my lesbian moms.
Right.
Like, and I just go, just a heads up. If you're trying to engage with people that like me, they don't want to hear more about my lesbian moms. I've been on Guys We Fucked. They've interviewed the literal shit about it.
Okay, so let's go with that then. You've been on Guys We Fucked. By the way, I am available for that show, ladies. Guys who haven't fucked for a while, if we rename that one. But so like if we were, I'm going through this stage right now as a comic. You have, when I see you tell jokes, you have the interesting stuff about the mom thing, which I kind of harp on because I just think it's the story that hasn't been told.
Yes.
Do we call it you've done drugs before and don't do them anymore?
Yes.
What do we call what you are?
I'm a recovering addict.
Okay. Now, as a recovering addict, you have some great friggin' stories.
Yes.
Do you like being defined by those? Do you lead with those stories? Do you like being defined by those stories?
I would rather be led in that way, I guess, because that's actually where the exciting parts in my life come from. When you talk about my mom's stuff, it gets sad real quick. I'm from.
I don't know.
You don't know my story, so I'm from Laramie, Wyoming.
You know what? I did not know that. How the hell? Really?
So Laramie Project, the play, Tony Award-winning play.
No, I don't even know Wyoming.
Okay, so Matthew Shepard.
Okay.
That's Laramie.
All right, so it's a sad town.
So it's the town known for homophobia.
And your moms,
famous,
were they from there?
Famous lesbians.
Your moms were famous lesbians?
Janine Garofalo plays her in
your mom
in the HBO.
Wait, where the fudge was that? Why didn't you tell me this 10 years ago in the friendship?
Because I don't like talking about this very much, and I've done it on Guys We Fucked.
Okay, I guess I should have done.
Yes.
No, but I guess I should have done the pre-interview then. One, yeah, and two, you should have seen what the hell I do on this podcast because I try to find. Because the gimmick of this podcast is I try to find interesting people who have a unique take on life or a way to make their weird lives interesting. And proverbially take the lemons and make them lemonade.
Sure.
But I never knew there was a goddamn play about your boring ass mom.
My mom has the most lines in this Tony Award-winning play.
The character played by Janine Garofalo playing your mom in the Tony Award-winning play that I've never seen and did not know existed.
Yeah.
Is Jesus.
So yeah. My mom's a gay a tragedy celebrity. I was gonna say gay, but she's more of a tragedy celebrity, kind of like those kids from the Parkland shooters. Like it's like.
She grew up with that rough a life.
That's the pinpoint of my mom. Like it would be me.
Okay.
Then this.
So let's go crazier here. Your mom, you on your TikTok, one of your number one videos is about doing shrooms at age 15.
Yes.
I don't want to overdo what you did on Guys We Effed.
In
fact, I really don't.
Right.
But there's a moment where you have this story that's even more sad than some of your real life friends know, or different, unique, heavy, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. And what makes you want to be a comedian and perform around that life story?
I guess I was
like, are you one of those, I always knew I'd be a comedian?
Oh, absolutely not.
Me neither.
No. I wanted to be in bands, and then I wanted to be a music producer, and then I did it as a goof, and then I was pretty good at it from the beginning.
What was your goof story? Like, how did you get on stage?
I was heckling a comedian at a comedy show.
In Wyoming?
In Florida, where I went to rehab.
Where in Florida?
Boca.
Okay, yeah, I'm judging you based on that. It's funny how I'm judging you more on what part of Florida than what part of Wyoming.
Seriously, yeah.
Okay, so you were heckling a guy. What was the heckle?
I think he asked me, he goes, dating's tough, and I just went, what? And it got a huge pop, like in a way because it wasn't the right answer. It was like, but it was enough to be like, not to mess him up. Because it's like, what do you mean by what? You know what I mean? I'm like, what?
Okay.
Like, it was like, dating's tough. Like,
oh, wait, hang on. I'll dating's tough.
What?
And it was like a shocked what?
Yes, exactly. Like a what?
Like who would say that? What an original premise. Much more original than Tom Kelly's interview with me.
Bingo. Like it was like a what? Like, and people could, because he was flailing.
So you get the laugh.
Big laugh.
Then what happens?
Then he goes, oh, you think you're funny?
Oh no. Mm-hmm. That, you know what? I've seen that in Florida too.
Yes.
Okay. So can you do the job?
He goes, there's an open mic on Wednesdays.
Okay, and what do you say to that?
I go, yeah, okay. If you're making money right now doing this, I can make money doing this.
So did you go on stage that night?
I went on stage, I think, in 2 Wednesdays from then.
Wow. At the same club?
At the same club.
Was he there?
He was not there.
Okay.
He was headlining.
Do you know who that comedian is?
Oh, I do.
You're not going to say it?
Artie Fletcher.
Oh, have you ever seen Artie Fletcher again then?
I've never seen Artie Fletcher again.
Okay.
I see he was opening for Gallagher, if that helps.
Yeah, no, and he wrote, and it's funny, I have never met him in person, and really, I think I'm Facebook friends with him. He wrote an interesting, if it's who I think it is, I think he wrote something weird about Gallagher. Yeah. Or not weird, but very honest about Gallagher.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, go Google Artie Fletcher. All right. So
no, I don't love that I did this to Artie at this night, but it was a moment when I went, oh, this is what a person that can come and headline. There was a thing that made my brain go, oh, if he can do this, I could probably do this.
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to think of like the moments that made me want to be a comic. I don't know if I definitely have a lot of how to F is that person on stage and not me moments nowadays.
Yeah, and I had that first. Because I had been like, wait, what?
And so did you start in the Florida scene?
And I started in Florida.
What, Bonkers? Did you do Bonkers?
Of course, yeah.
Oh, God, my first road gig ever was with Bonkers.
Yeah, so I toured all over the Florida.
All their one-nighters and little rooms?
Yep, and the big rooms.
Actually, they're still around, right?
They're still, I would say that they're mediumly strong,
They're going medium.
Yeah.
So I guess this is the question is now, you're an addict doing well in recovery.
Yep.
You're a wacky guy who has grown up with a mom so interesting that Matthew Shepard wrote a play. And
Matthew Shepard is what the play is about. Matthew Shepard is the young man who gets beaten to death and then hung up like Jesus, and then he gives the police officer AIDS, and then the 2 guys get arrested for the first hate crime.
Yeah, that should be in your bio.
Should that go in my TikTok bio?
Yeah, that should be your TikTok.
You might know me from my mom.
No, but what I find very interesting is here, you're one of maybe 3 comedians I've had to my home, and I invited you because I consider you a friend, and here I am realizing I don't know who to talk to.
I don't talk about this stuff that much, though. I keep
No,
this.
but you're right. It should be in your TikTok bio. There's just certain things that we like. Like I feel like everybody needs a Wikipedia page, and that way, and Wikipedia for sure, open source. So that way, I can add later. Yeah, before you have them on your podcast, go check out Guys We Effed episode 32.
Oh, you can also just Google my mom, and then. And I'm in there. I'm in there too. Like I don't have my own link, but I am in there. It's in there. She has a whole Wikipedia.
No, but even with that, without getting too into it, a friend of mine, I'll tell you about off camera later. Grew up with famous parents, infamous parents, or an infamous dad and a nice sweet mom, whatever you want to call it. The story wasn't a happy story, kind of like what you're talking about. How do you? Like, where does that end? But yet you want to be famous. You could probably get fame off of this story, but I could tell that you've been patient with me, but don't want fame off this story. How do you define yourself on stage with these mixed feelings?
All right. So there was a reason for 7 years or 8 years of my comedy career. I did one-liners.
Really?
Yeah, I never did anything that was authentic to my life in any way. But I did well at it. It was
Okay.
I was
What are your one?
headline.
Like, do you have a good one-liner? What's your favorite one off the top of your head? Do you have
Yeah, you should never shake a baby. But like, what if that baby owes you money?
See, now there's your TikTok channel, and I know you don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
But that's a TikTok channel. That's the TikTok channel.
Oh, right.
Everything that's inauthentic to you, that will make you your money.
Yes, exactly. So those are all the things.
So 8 years of one-liners, and then you started becoming authentic. What made you make that switch?
I still was not getting the success I needed to move forward. So I started talking again about my moms. I talked about my moms for a little bit.
Right.
In the beginning
Okay.
of my comedy thing. Then I stopped once, you know what I mean? Like I wasn't there yet.
Okay. No, because
talk
there's a
about
lot of
it.
things like I don't talk about my family. And my family, let's just get this out of the way, not nearly as complex as yours.
Sure.
But I'm always afraid of, hurting mom's feelings. If I make fun of, I have one joke that I'll tell now. My mom loves the TV show Monk. Monk is an hour-long show, but listening to mom talk about Monk is 90 minutes. Now, if she heard me say that, 1, it didn't work in front of a crowd the only time I did that. 2, it would hurt her feelings.
Yeah. It would really hurt my mom's feelings if I
Went deep.
went real on it. Yeah. One time I went to I took her to a show that I was producing in Florida.
Right.
And the guy asked to headline my show. She was in the audience. He was doing crowd work, and he found out that she was in the audience. And then he just was like, "Wow. So, you're the mom. You're Lucas's mom, like one of the moms."
Right.
And then he started being all like, "Wow, he can't. He'll do anything to make sure a show gets through. He'll put his mom in the seats." And then he started asking her about scissoring and all the kinds of stuff. And then in the ride home, my mom was
That's a mom.
yeah, and she was mad. She was really mad because she's like, "Do you not like me? Like, why would you bring me to a thing that could be like this?" And it's like, "Well, I didn't."
What year was that? Pre-2010? Because you know what it is, too? It's also interesting. Like, I did a show last night out in, Alabama, or I watched a show out in Alabama for the sake of the story. The host was a female MC who, is an old-fashioned person, so I don't necessarily feel bad for her. But then one of the comics gave the line of, she gives the best hand jobs this side of Hempstead Turnpike. And I'm like, haven't you seen season 2 of Hacks?
Yeah.
Or haven't you seen the season finale of Hacks? Whatever the line thought was in my head. And she came back with a great rebuttal when she came on stage, which is, well, that's the guy who gives the best hand jobs on the other side of Hempstead Turnpike. Everybody seemed happy, but there's also part of me that just thinks, geez, asking a woman about scissoring, it was acceptable at some point. And, or it was more acceptable than it is now, even though it was wrong back then.
I think it was also I named the show Dirty Show, so it was I had set myself up for failure, like in the sense of bringing my mom there.
Well,
period.
I'll tell you, I have never had my parents come to see me do stand up in 20 years.
Yes,
not one.
Right, and after that took a long while before I was like, okay, come see me again.
Wait, she came to a show after that.
Yeah, she see me headline now. So
okay.
it's but then I have power of show.
Yeah, okay. See, in my mind, it's yeah, I don't know. In my mind, I just feel like, you know what, it's just easier to send them a QuickTime video. It's easier to send them a YouTube link.
Sure.
It's easier to just airdrop something.
The thing about what I'm able to do is something that you can't capture in that clip. There's a reason why I'm not going viral. Or if me doing well on stage turned into viral clips, or clips that were accessible via video, then I would be famous.
So, well, and I guess that could be my last question for you, because I know you got a show, and I try to keep these down to 20 minutes, and usually I don't do the first 12 minutes on stuff the guest doesn't want to talk about, but.
It's not that I don't want to talk about it. I just have talked about it.
No, but it's like I don't like talking about the warm-up work. I've done it. I don't feel like you.
Boom, there it is.
It's been done. Now, for me, I find it interesting because I do think even still to this point, it may be a story you have told, but it is not a story that has been told.
I agree, but my story is not comedy. Do you understand what my problem is?
Well, and to your point, I understand it now. I didn't understand it half an hour ago because I had only heard the story in a comedy environment.
Yes. So there is a absolute reason. It is a great story. It is actually a great story, but it is not the story. And I have tried, man. But
let's go. But you talked about being real. Let's maybe, because you're right. I think you and I have this in common. And I think actually all the comics at the club we work at have this in common. We're great live acts.
Sure. I would agree with that.
And it's hard to capture that energy in a 16:9 screen, whatever direction it's being pointed in. You're even saying your comedy career started going further when you started being a little more real. I am starting to wonder, do I even want to be so real that I'm not a comedian? I become a humorist, which is technically a step down in our pecking world. Or do I even just want to be a writer? Even with this podcast, which is kind of a little emo. By the way, thank you for not listening, so you couldn't steer me off this path, by the way. I'm blaming you now. But I guess the question is now, when you think about it, is our great hit necessarily TikTok clips? Is your hit more substantive than performing at LOL or a comedy club? Is your great hit potentially the heart-wrecking movie that sums up Lucas's life?
And that is the thing that I've been avoiding. You know what I mean? Because it's not fun, and sitting down to write it doesn't spark the joy that we were.
No, and
and so I love making people laugh, and no one like at the end of the day when you hear my whole story, you just go, well, you should probably do that. And I'm going to be honest, I've done a lot of things where people say you should be doing that. I don't know if you've ever seen my visual art, but people are like, well, you should probably do that. And if you've heard the music I've produced, people go, well, you probably should do that. And it's like there's this thing.
Well, actually, I'll give you this for a minute, man. If I found you should do that paid boatloads of money, I would do that.
Interesting.
Like right now, if I found I was good at and almost like, I don't know if I get the magical joy out of comedy all the time. I get the joy out of comedy. I get the joy out of being on stage. I don't get the joy out of not going anywhere on a Friday night because I want to go be on 46th Street telling jokes for 15 minutes. I don't get the joy out of, like I said, I get the joy out of the show, not the business.
Yeah.
For show business. What would be your second runner-up, or or is there a way to combine those arts?
And so that's the hope. The hope is that I'm going to be able to do it. The thing is, I always feel like I'm not in my skill range. Is the honest thing,
right?
Is that like maybe this could become great stand-up. But right now, my skill range doesn't allow me to be like, hey, and maybe it just has to do with I'm not famous, so no one ever is coming to see me, so no one cares to go down a little bit of a journey with me to get to the relief, right? They're just they're just like, is he funny? Oh, he ain't funny. And then I have to deal with, dragging my way out of that.
I mean, I'm trying to find the animal of, the hard part is, how do you sell a one-man show? How do you sell a 30-minute show? How do you sell the book? And I don't have the answers to any of these things. That's why I bring people like you into my apartment and do no pre-interview, is I'm trying to find the answers to those questions. I guess the existential question I have, and that has me doing this podcast, is what else is there?
Sure.
What else is there? And there may be nothing.
It'd be probably visual art. Like it'd probably be, yeah. But it would be like legit visual art, not it wouldn't be like, I'm doing funny cute comics. It would be
okay. And now, what does selling out mean to you?
Just having a grift, and you just keep doing it you just always play to your base every time.
All right. I don't know if I got the show I wanted out of you.
Probably not.
No, but I got something out of this.
Yeah. And I didn't. If I came in too aggressive in the middle, I could have just kept yes-anding, but I just wanted to make sure.
No, I
just knew it's a bummer. So it's
but a bummer is not a bad thing, because I think the one thing about this podcast is, if we're being real, I have an audience of 500 people. Great people. I can name 100 of them easily, which I'll do the magic mirror now. Ryan, I see Marianne, I see Judy, I see Kathy, I see Brian, I see Dan, I see Karen. Anyway, that's one of my gimmicks at the end but it is like a community of people trying to grow a bit. And, not all of these podcasts are going to be, oh my God, look, I'm Joe Rogan now. So what are the other paychecks for a podcast?
Sure.
And one of them is getting to know people that you have known for a while, but turns out you didn't know at all.
No.
Yeah. And I think that's the benefit. So there is a win on this.
Absolutely.
There's also a win. Is this play still in theaters? No? Is there a movie version?
There's a movie on HBO.
Great. Guess what I'm doing later.
Wow, you can have a real sad time.
Yeah, but I will be, when I see you at LOL at 10:40, I will at least be more educated.
Yeah, and you can see the little actor that plays me and his stupid fucking hair. I fucking hate him.
Who is he?
I don't know.
Is he still in the game?
I don't know.
That's a podcast.
I just go find that piece of shit and I beat him up.
Okay, well, I was going to say, just have the two of you. Actually, I think, folks, audience, here's our next show, is I'm going to just get the two of them on a Zoom and have Lucas confront them.
Great. I would love to
Was
do
he
that.
anything like you at all?
No, he has spiked hair.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, there you go. Do you know the actor's name?
I have no idea. He's not called Lucas. He's called Catherine Connolly's son.
Wow, you couldn't even get named.
I couldn't even get named. That's right.
I think that's good for you, though.
Yeah.
It's good for the Google searches.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to keep it focused on you.
Yeah.
All right, Lucas Connolly, I'm not sure if I'm going to thank you or apologize. But folks, I'm going to keep this pretty darn close to however it was recorded. You know what to do, folks. Do what all podcast listeners or podcasters ask the podcast listeners to do, which is show love where love can be shown. Comment on the YouTube. Share the damn show with somebody. Actually, maybe you just want to let this one go. I don't know.
Or maybe this is the one that you want to share with people so Tom can learn.
What? Okay, fine. Let's give the audience this before the end of the ask. What should I have done differently? I bought a pizza. I brought water.
The pizza thing was so nice. I couldn't believe it.
Oh, and he's on a diet. I've done everything wrong. I just thought, you know what? Off the top of my head, I'm going to get a big pie so I can share it with Lucas.
And it's good.
And then what did you say? What did you say? From a great place. And what did you say?
I'm on a diet.
Yeah.
I'm keto.
So... Oh my God! The story of his mom's is borderline suicidal, and he's on keto. So, what would you have done differently before? What should I have done differently?
To be honest, I could talk about rehab. There's interesting things.
Because that's the happy topic.
To be honest, I know how to. To be honest, those characters are much funnier than the characters in my childhood.
Yeah, but I mean, I thought I was doing the safe one. I intentionally thought I was doing, especially after the beautiful story you told me off air about rehab, without going too into it. Without going into that personal story, I'm like, you know what? Lead with lesbian moms. That's wacky. Good God. No, rehab. Of course, you always lead with rehab.
Rehab is so fun compared to my childhood. To be honest, rehab was a break from my childhood.
Was it?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Well, the drugs was obviously an attempt at a break from some sort of pain.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. But then was there a happy time in rehab?
Oh, my God. Yeah.
What?
Oh, man, we were doing improv in there. There's a lot of fun stuff.
Wait, first of all, how long were you in rehab, and was it like an expensive place?
No, it was not an expensive place, but I was there for a long time.
Okay.
Like, I was probably
By the way, you're making the same face you were making when I was asking about the damn moms.
I was probably institutionalized for
a year,
9 months.
Okay, that's a long time.
Oh yeah.
Because usually rehab's 60 or 90 days.
Yeah, but I got there. You got to remember the first couple months I was in detox.
Gotcha. Were you arrested? Was it court mandated?
I was arrested.
Folks, we're gonna wait. Do we have time to do a second show?
We do not. I have to go. That's this second.
That's the teaser. All right, folks, we're gonna let Lucas go on court mandated detox. Good night, New York.
Hey, follow me, Lovable Lucas.
No, don't. Make him come back and tell the story again.